This week we're checking out the pros and cons of moving to Torrance, California. What's up, everybody? CheyneInman here, local real estate agent helping families move here to Southern California from all over. And so if that's you and you're checking out the South Bay or Southern California and you're getting started in your home search, I would love to help you get started. So feel free to call or text or email me. It's never too early to get started in your search. And definitely subscribe and hit like so that you're notified every time we put out a new video on the area. All right, so this week we're going to do pros and cons of moving to Torrance. And I've had a pros and cons video on moving to Torrance before, but it's been a couple years, so I thought I would update it and just kind of, go over some things that I've thought of recently heard from people moving here as pros or cons. And so the first one we're going to go with is probably kind of a given for Southern California, and that is proximity to the beach. So Torrance, it spans further east, and then it also goes right up to the shoreline. So, you've got options for how close or how far you want to be to the beach. And obviously, the closer you are to the beach, the more expensive it gets. But I think a lot of people don't really realize that Torrance, they think Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, and they hear beach in the name, and they know, okay, that city is right near the beach. But they don't always think the beach when they're thinking of Torrance. But you've got areas in West Torrance where you're, a mile bike ride down to the beach, or you've got areas in the Hollywood Riviera and South Torrance where you're, blocks to the beach. So there are some great options for being near the beach in Torrance, and the closer you get to the beach, the more expensive it is, but also there's options for farther away or closer up in Torrance. All right, and the next pro for moving to Torrance is the weather. So, weather in Southern California, sunny and 75 all year long. Lately, it's been a little different, but, I constantly have people moving here and, they're worried when they see a house that doesn't have air conditioning, but, there's only a few weeks out of the month where you really feel like, oh, shoot, I need air conditioning. So it is very common for a home not to have air conditioning here, so don't be surprised if you're checking out a home and it does not have air conditioning, but it's definitely a plus if there's an HVAC system already set up in the home, but it's not always a necessity. All right, and pro number 3 for moving to Torrance is just the outdoor activities. And so, obviously, like I mentioned, you've got good weather, you're near the beach, so you've got all those kinds of things. You can go hiking or running or walking along the beach. You can spend the day playing volleyball or going on in the sand or surfing. So you've got all those beach options. You've also got all the trails nearby in Palos Verdes, so you can go hiking on the trails. They have horseback riding, and then you've just got Torrance in general has different activities going on. So at Charles Wilson Park in Torrance, you've got the farmers market, so just different things to do throughout the year. I've got a little daughter and been taking her to swim lessons. They've got aquatic centers here. They've got all different types of things to do within Torrance itself. And pro number 5 for moving to Torrance is the school district. So Torrance Unified School District has 4 different high schools within it in the public schools. I coach at West Torrance High School, so I coach cross country and track, and I have families from all over the area that move here specifically because they wanted to be in the Torrance Unified School District area. So could be, they live outside the area and got a permit to come in. That's possible as well. Or they moved here specifically because of that. So do your research. There's different websites out there, that niche.com that will rank the schools and tell you kind of a grading system of where and why and how they rank. But Torrance Unified has 4 different high school options with multiple middle schools and elementaries, feeder schools, and then on top of that, you also have Bishop Montgomery Private School right down the street, and you're not too far from Redondo High School. So there's lots of options nearby, and so you could be in one city and move over to another, but Torrance has got some great school options as well. All right, so those are the pros for moving to Torrance. So why would you not want to move to Torrance? Well, I would say the number one reason people are probably not rushing to get to Torrance is just the cost of living, and that's Southern California in general. If you're looking for a single family residence and a standalone home, not a condo or a townhome, and you want it to be newer and updated, within Torrance, it's going to be difficult to find for under $1 million. So, not to say it's not possible, but it's just as you expand your search, you're just going to have to change different options. It might be a smaller square footage. It might be maybe you go with a condo or a townhome, but basically, Torrance is getting more expensive, as is everywhere else in California. So that's probably the number one reason I would say for not wanting to move to California or not wanting to move to Torrance. All right, and con number two for moving to Torrance is just what you get for the home. So a lot of the homes here might have been built in the 1950s, 60s, and they're going to be older and smaller and have kind of a tighter floor plan. So if you're somebody that wants that, 3,000, 2,500, 4,000 square foot home that you might get in other states, you're not going to necessarily find that here unless it's been a home that's completely remodeled and it had additions and updated. Otherwise, you're going to probably be looking at 1,200, 1,300, 1,500, 1,600 square feet for a single family residence. And then, condos and townhomes have different options as well. You may find that you get more interior space by going the condo route, whereas you don't get maybe a backyard or a front yard. So it's just a matter of what is important to you. Is it more interior space? Is it more updated? But the homes tend to be a little bit older. They tend to be a little bit more smaller. And so if that is something that's important in your search, then that might be a con for moving to Torrance. All right, and con number three for moving to Torrance is something actually we had happen yesterday, and that's earthquakes. So I grew up in Northern California and San Francisco. It's common to have earthquakes up in Northern California. So I've felt many earthquakes throughout my life, but I do think for people that have never experienced it before, it can be nerve-wracking and shocking and a little scary. So everywhere has its downfalls. You've got hurricanes out in Florida, you've got tornadoes in places, you've got all kinds of things, and earthquakes just tend to be a California thing. So if you're looking at California in general, that's something to think about, is how comfortable are you with earthquakes. And con number four is just insects, bugs, animals, everything you might find out here in Torrance. And so, everywhere is going to be different. California, you're getting a lot of these same kind of spiders and bugs and animals. But the things that I notice living in Torrance I see coyotes at night. I've seen raccoons and skunks. I run a lot, and when you turn a corner and run into a skunk, that's never fun. Thankfully, I haven't been sprayed. But it's not uncommon to see coyotes and skunks. There's black widow spiders. You've got termites. That's one thing I always let clients know when they're purchasing a home, that they should have a termite inspection done, because being close to the ocean, you are going to there's a lot of the homes are going to have some termite damage. So it's good to get that report done up front and know what you're getting into with the bones of the home. And then the normal ants and all kinds of bugs that you might find in Southern California. So those are some of the things that you might encounter that you might not expect moving from somewhere else in the world. And con number five for living in Torrance is just how spread out it is. And that may not seem like a con to you, but to me, it just makes Torrance feel a little less like one giant city and more like a bunch of individual pockets within it. And so that could be a good thing if you're somebody that wants to live by the beach and you want to feel like, okay, I've got my neighborhood figured out, and I really like the Hollywood Riviera, or I really like South Torrance, or I really like West Torrance. But it could be a bad thing if you're somebody that really wants that small town kind of feel. And I think Torrance being so spread out and having North Torrance, South Torrance, West Torrance, downtown Old Torrance, it's a good thing because you have a lot of options for restaurants and stores and things. But it could be a bad thing if you want some more of like a small town feel. So that is Torrance in a nutshell. And if you have things you'd like to add, be sure to comment down below. If you have questions about what it's like to move here, feel free to email me or text or call, or just comment down below. And thanks for watching.